I think this has been the first gun buyback program in the city of Houston in some, what, 20 plus years. Um, and I will tell you, I didn't know what to expect this morning. I really didn't, to just be very candid. But it has been overwhelmingly successful, even at this point. The line is still long, all the way down to Yellowstone. Even before we got started at 8 a.m., the line had already built up. And so, quite frankly, before I get to the heart of my remarks, let me stop. Let me bring up Chief Finner with HPD because they have just done an exceptional, just the Congresswoman says stupendous. I'm gonna say exceptional, but HPD has simply been awesome because they're the ones who primarily help orchestrate, design, and implement the program. They're checking the guns. So let me bring up Chief Finner from the very beginning, and then I'll come right back.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank everybody for the support. But let me say this. I'm so proud of our city. People can say what they want to, but time after time again, Houstonians step up with common sense and love. And this is what you see out here today. I was told just a few minutes ago, all the way down Scott, all the way back to Yellowstone. If you're familiar with the area, that's a long stretch. I want to thank Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. We had a different design, but things happen. This is a church. That was a funeral, so that got us off of the traffic, but we're praying for that family. But people, keep doing what we're doing in this city. And there's a lot of negative talk, and I don't get into it, give it a lot of attention. But let me say today, I'm happy. Y'all see it. And before we leave, I don't know if the media, everybody got a chance to see, because I've heard it all. Oh, it's just going to be junk guns, this and that. You don't have a solution to problems. Please just sit down and let us step up to people who are going to do the work. And that's non-political. All right? So thank y'all very much. I want to thank all of the volunteers, all of the men and the women in uniform, and our civilian, everybody. Our Congress people, just thank you so much. President Biden for providing funding. But this is the first. We may not get a chance to serve everybody, because who anticipated? I knew it was going to be a lot of people. But even I didn't think this many people on the first time. And we're going to get a chance to serve in them, and we're going to work out a process today. So I'm excited as the chief. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Houstonians. Thank y'all.
So again, let me thank Chief Finner and the entire command staff and everyone affiliated with HPD for just being a yeoman's job. The best way to beat a critic is success, and this program already has been overwhelmingly successful. Even up to this point, prior to this press conference starting, we have taken in about 150 guns already this morning, and the line is still very long. This 9mm. Is one of the guns that's been taken in. We've taken in ghost guns. We've taken in rifles, automatics have been taken in, and so the program is working, and the gift cards are handed out. Let me acknowledge the people that are standing with me this morning. I want to start by acknowledging Commissioner Rodney Ellis. Commissioner Ellis has just been a strong supporter, partner, spokesperson, just really carried this program. And I want him to know personally, I really appreciate the leadership that he's provided to this program from the very beginning. So thank you, Commissioner Ellis, and you'll be hearing from him shortly. I want to thank our congressional delegation, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. She's been talking about this program for about a year. Even with HPD, I want to thank her for her leadership, and you'll be hearing from her. Congressman Al Green, I want to thank him. I want to thank the two of them because the money that's being provided, that's in One Safe Houston, the $1 million, those are opera funds. Those are federal dollars. But for those federal dollars, coming from the votes, the positive votes that they made on the opera bill, we would not be able to do this. So please give a strong hand to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and Congressman Al Green. Cannot thank them enough. I certainly want to acknowledge my own council member, the chairperson of Public Safety and Homeland Security, and that is Councilmember Abby Kamen of District C. She has been a strong supporter, helped also craft this program, the gun buyback program. So I want to thank her for her leadership and being just instrumental all the way through. Thank you. And then on the state level, State Representative Ron Reynolds, thank you, man, for just being very, very supportive. And then lastly, I do want to acknowledge Crystal Ogorafor. Crystal Ogorafor is the Deputy Inspector for the Independent Police Oversight Board. And Crystal has been, I guess you could say, the civilian that has also been very helpful in orchestrating it, making sure that the gift cards themselves are being distributed. So, Crystal, thank you for your leadership. And then let me just say this. What this program demonstrates is that there are way too many guns on our streets. There are just way too many guns. As we put money in law enforcement, and a part of One Safe Houston is multifaceted. It's overtime for police. It's more police through the cadet classes. It's technology. It's providing $1 million to our reentry program, $3 million to our community messengers program, $28 million to our crisis intervention. There are a number of initiatives in One Safe Houston. $1 million of that is set aside for the gun buyback program. And to emphasize the fact that there are way, way too many guns. And as we put more police on the street, they are being confronted by guns. And there are too many guns in the hands of that population 16 to 24. Okay? There are too many guns. There are roughly too many guns that have been stolen from homes and from vehicles just between January and where we are today. 2,500 guns stolen from vehicles. And many of these guns are being used to victimize and fatally kill other people. So we need to remove as many of these guns. Now, this is not to say that just the gun buyback program is going to make our city safer. But let me tell you, it does help. And when you put it in collaboration with all of the other initiatives, we can make our city safe. And based on what we have seen since One Safe Houston was put into effect in February, the homicide rate in the city of Houston is pretty much flat. It sometimes fluctuates 1 to 2 or 3% above. Sometimes it's 1 to 2% below what was last year's numbers. But in most of your violent crime categories, we are down when you compare it to last year. So One Safe Houston is working. But the gun buyback program allows everyone to participate in making the city safe. This is where moms and dads and neighbors and people with guns, everyone can participate. And if you give them the opportunity, they will participate, and that's what we are saying today. So I want to thank everybody for participating in this program and making it already an overwhelming success. Based on today, there will be others. Okay, there will be others, and we'll work out the logistics of that a little bit later on. Now let me stop and let me first call on Commissioner Rodney Ellis. Let me get his gun back.
Yeah, please do. Thank you, Mayor Turner. I want to say what a tremendous partner your entire team has been, and Mayor, you have been. The mayor had some dental surgery, and let me tell you, to come out in this heat after having surgery, give our mayor another warm round of applause. Thank you, Mayor Turner. Chief Finner, we can't say enough. I mean, your team worked with the mayor's staff, my staff. You looked at best practices all around America and came up with a program for us. I'm so proud of you. Give Chief Finner a warm round of applause. Hey, I want to thank our federal partners as well and our state representative back there, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee, Congressman Al Green, thank you so much. But look, more than anything, I won't echo everything the mayor said. It is important to note where we're having this gun buyback today, at the historic Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. And let me tell you, it was not by accident that the mayor and his team and my staff wanted to have this gun buyback here. It says a lot about the leadership of this church, the current pastor and the pastor emeritus, to have this gun buyback here. So thank Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church for opening up their church grounds to have this event. A little bit about the history of gun buybacks. The best that I can find was maybe in about 1968, Shortly after King was assassinated, 67, I believe, that was a gun buyback in the city of Philadelphia. Out in Seattle, they've had very successful ones. In Chicago, we did some research. Mayor Turner, I think it was under Mayor Lee Brown's watch. The last time we had a gun buyback here. We did a little research trying to see when was the last one we had in Texas. The one I could find right before the pandemic was at a church in Beaumont. Pastor Adolph, who's going to preach here on Sunday, by the way, who is a mentee of Bill Lawson. He had a gun back. He got money from the Beaumont Foundation, Rio family. I think he raised about $47,000. He told me he ran out of gift cards. They thought they were going to have 5 locations all around the city. He started out at his church and then had other pastors lined up. Pastors put in money. They ran out of gift cards in about 3 hours. I did a little research last night. Mayor and I talked. I made some calls up in Dallas. I talked to the DA briefly in Dallas County. DeSoto, Texas, had a gun buyback. Maybe about 6 months before the pandemic, it was successful. As the mayor said, this is just one of the items in the basket on what we're trying to do. The county, working with the cities, One Safe Houston, we're also putting money into violence interruption. We're putting money into a program so we don't call Chief Finner and his team or our sheriffs and constables for everything. Sometimes it may be a mental health breakdown, and you ought to call someone who can handle that instead of law enforcement. Both the city and the county put well over half of what we spend in the traditional law enforcement, and we're going to continue to do that and do more. But obviously, we need to invest in other things, and this is one of those things. So, Mayor, I'm glad to work with you. I appreciate your team. As you said, if we run out of gift cards today, there will be other opportunities. I'm hoping my colleagues at Commissioner's Court will match the $1 million that the city has put up. The mayor and I were talking at a ceremony maybe about a month or so ago about whether or not we could do something before school started. And I don't really think we were going to come up with the money to do it because we got to still clear some hurdles to spend the federal money. But after Uvalde, he and I both decided we needed to have at least one gun buyback before our children go back to school. So for a few people who are in the line, I might have met a few. Somebody had a little old toy gun. You want to get a little press, all of the naysayers. It's amazing how people can talk about everything they think that causes crime, but they don't want to talk about the number of guns. Close with this little factoid for you. 400 million guns in America. Did you hear what I said? 400 million guns in America. We don't have 400 million people. We have more guns than every man, woman, and child in America. A higher percentage of people who have guns of any nation on the planet. And this, we hope, is a first step, an important step in trying to make the point we ought to get some of these guns out of the hands of people who should not have them. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Commissioner. I do want to acknowledge Justin Robinson, the head of the Urban League, who has just been very, very active in our anti-violence initiatives. Thank you, Justin. Want to acknowledge the state representative from this area, Jolanda Jones. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. I also want to acknowledge Assistant Chief Martin, Commander Garcia, and then we have someone from the staff of Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher as well. I want to acknowledge them as well. And then let me bring up Congresswoman Sheila Jackson. Let me also acknowledge Brother Derek Muhammad. I really appreciate his leadership on the Black Male Initiative. Thank you.
Let me likewise do as I do on the floor of the House and say we live in the best city in the nation and around the world with the best mayor. Give Mayor Sylvester Turner a rousing applause. And in Europe, they bang on the table like this. I am pleased that fellow travelers and warriors are here. Thank you, Councilmember Kamen, very much. As Chair of the Public Safety, you have constantly been online with me in your interest and commitment in ensuring that federal dollars are used for what the cities need. Derek Muhammad, thank you again for realizing that we must invest in young men and black men in particular, men of color. and thank you for your leadership on that. Thank you, Justin Robinson, just coming back from the National Urban League with a powerful message and action. State Representative Jolanda Jones in her district, State Representative Reynolds, an incoming chair of the Black Leadership Caucus in the State House, and of course, Commissioner Ellis, you're at home as well. Your home of birth, just a few miles down the road, and you have shown your commitment and made Precinct 1 the action-oriented precinct. Give him a big hand as well. I'm glad to be here with my colleague in the United States Congress and welcome him as well here. This is a day of applause and celebration and a long time coming, and look how well it has been done by the top-notch chief of the nation, Chief Finner, and a top-notch Houston Police Department. Give them a very big hand. Their attitude has been most welcoming to these owners. I know they're here for the cash card, but you can imagine there's a little trepidation, and they want to really know that this is anonymous. And so I've been out here since about 8:40, and to watch the police interact with these citizens where they can explain to them that they are held harmless. That is a big important point about this. And no level of enforcement in any way can suggest that a gun buyback is not a very effective program. Let me tell you why. Idle guns in the homes of Houstonians and Texans in a state that has no gun safety laws at all, to the extent that people could walk up and down the street and say, hey, I've got a few dollars, let me get your gun. Those people could do that. But instead, they're in a line responding to our PSAs, our Twitter account, and saying, I want to do something for our city. And when I spoke to a gentleman and asked him why he was here, he said, I wanted to do something for our city. And each car I came up on after that, I said, thank you for doing something for your city. I don't want to be descriptive, but I will. Texas laws are lawless as it comes to gun laws. Yesterday, after 28 years, 18 years, the House of Representatives passed a bill that came out of my subcommittee, the crime subcommittee and the full committee, Judiciary Committee, to ban assault weapons. Now, many people say that it will not go to the Senate. I can tell you, watch us, because we are planning on making sure that we have federal laws that are going to be applicable. And I believe that what we're doing today is making our churches safer, making our houses safer, making our schools safer, and our streets safer. Because as some of those who drove up here said, we didn't want them, another person said, to get in the streets. So I'm excited about the fact that yesterday was a national historic day of passing major gun legislation to ban assault weapons and to ensure that it has nothing to do with the Second Amendment, because the bill had pages and pages of guns that were not included, and the legislation doesn't take your guns. But here we have a circumstance of that. 2017, I stood up and said, let's do something about guns and do a gun buyback program. And so I want to assure the mayor and the commissioner, as New York has done a gun buyback and they had federal funds, assure you that we'll work on the bumps in the road to make sure that the American Rescue Plan, which was designated by the President of the United States for cities to use it to become safer, I want to assure you that we will extricate those funds and there will be federal funds flowing. And I hope that as we're here at the historic Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, I want to acknowledge Reverend Dr. William A. Lawson, the founder of this church, who has always been civically engaged, and now its senior pastor, Marcus Cosby, our friend, our constituent, the pastor, how grateful we are that we have a civic-minded church and these grounds can be used for so much. So let me indicate to those who are listening that this gun buyback is within the law, within the federal law, within local law. No questions asked. The detailed manner in which they're doing, it's within the law. And if there are some further conversations, it is in the law. It is in the law under the United States Attorney General. It's in the law on the U.S. Attorney Generals, and it's under the law. And then finally, I joined with the commissioner and the mayor and others to say, yes, we can do more and do others, and I can assure you that other parts of this great and grand city are looking for a gun buyback program. Finally, I want to say that there will be a comedy show and a celebrity basketball game that will be hosted by 50 Cent, and I'll be giving out a couple of tickets. Make sure I say a couple of tickets. We don't know what will be down the road to individuals who may come through, and we thank the sponsor for helping us get these, which is Mr. Gashani. So thank you all so very much for realizing that we're doing good service, we're being good Samaritans, and we're doing something for the city. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mayor. As you see us standing here, you see the mayor of the fourth largest city in the country. You see a commissioner par excellence. You have 2 members of Congress, 2 members representing the State House, persons representing NGOs, a great police chief. My friends, this is what unity looks like. This is what unity looks like. This is what success looks like. This is what you can do when you take the time to work together to serve the people who have elected you, to serve them better. This is what success looks like, and we have to replicate this level of success. We have to replicate it. To replicate it, I believe that I will go back to Congress, Mayor, with your consent and permission, as well as yours, Commissioner Ellis, and Congresswoman and other elected officials, State Representative Jones, Yolanda Jones, Ron Reynolds. I will go back to Congress and make this proposal that we saw something today that we quite frankly didn't anticipate seeing, and this is evidence of the need for us to replicate this program across the length and breadth of this country. Doing it in Houston is great, but doing it across the country is even better. And I'm going to propose in Congress that we have a matching grant program that we fund it such that it can cover 50 states. And Mayor, we want to fund it such that NGOs, but more specifically, chambers of commerce, such that chambers of commerce can be involved and help us to get the matching funds. The city of Houston is already strapped. I know. I helped the mayor. But the Chamber of Commerce can play a role in this. These are the captains of industry. They're the people who can make things happen. Let's let them make something happen when it comes to saving lives and getting guns off the streets. And to do this, I will ask that these grants be awarded in places like Houston and other cities, but also we want them to go to the small towns. Even in Stafford, there's a need for this kind of program. In Missouri City, there's a need for this kind of program. There's a need for this kind of program because the commissioner's right. More guns than people, and they're not all concentrated in big cities. Yeah, that's right. So we've got to do more, and this is the way I think we can get it done. And finally, I will close with this. Once we make this efficacious across the country, we will find persons willing to move more aggressively on what we passed in the House yesterday, and that is to deal with these weapons of war that are on our streets. Those babies should not have died at Robb Elementary School. We had a chance to do something about that many times, but more specifically in Texas, when the Walmart store, 23 persons were lost in Texas. We can do better, but it's up to us to make it happen, and we in the federal government have to do our part if we want to see this gun violence eliminated. Not mitigated, but eliminated. I believe that we can do it, and I believe that this is a sterling, supreme, superb example of how to get it done. Mayor, I salute you, and I compliment you, Commissioner Ellis, and I compliment all who had a hand in this, knowing that but for your hands on the wheel, we wouldn't be here today. Thank you, everybody. God bless you.
Our final speaker will be Councilmember Abby Kamen.
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning. When we were walking down the line, we spoke with residents. One woman had firearms in her home and had learned about this program through social media. And she finally knew how she could safely hand off her guns to someone. She did not want them at a secondhand store. She did not want them in the hands of people that could use them for dangerous means. I spoke with a gentleman who was very nuanced in firearms. He handed off multiple guns. One was a shotgun sawed off that another family member had found in their family shed. He wasn't even comfortable using that firearm, so he brought it here. This program is working, and this program, safe gun buybacks, are about residents having an opportunity to make a difference and take the issue into their own hands, because gun violence, responding to gun violence, takes all of us. And I think it's indicative of how important this is, with the fact that you have so many important partners standing here today, from Congress, our state legislature, our county, and Commissioner Ellis. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you. Really. This would not be possible without the leadership of Mayor Turner. Mayor Turner came to all of us on council and said, what are your ideas? What are productive ways we can address crime holistically and safety holistically? And Mayor, you have been true to your word. Whether it's violence intervention programs, working with Councilmember Jackson, working with our Vice Mayor Pro Tem on camera ordinances, working with me and so many others on this program, we are doing everything we can to address gun violence in our country right here at home, and it takes all of us. And I have to give a special thank you not only to Wheeler, but also to the media, because so many people that we spoke to today learned about this program through you. So the message is getting out, but we cannot do it without you. So thank you to everyone that made this possible, especially HPD Chief Finner. We had 2 public safety committee meetings on this to make sure it would run smoothly, and HPD has done a phenomenal job. So again, I'm here to say thank you. There's more work to be done, but again, buyback programs are about removing guns in a safe way that may be unwanted, so that they don't end up in the hands of the wrong people. And on top of that, we are focusing on safe storage. So please allow me the opportunity to remind everyone, 10 guns a day are stolen out of cars in Houston, and that's what's just reported. Please safely store your guns for your children, for your families, for our city. It takes all of us. We will continue to dedicate funds. I have allocated $75,000 for safe storage and gun locks, but it doesn't stop there. And thank you to all of our partners, and a special thank you, Mayor Turner, for your leadership of this nation. We are showing as a city what we can do. Thank you.
Please be patient with us. State Representative Jordan Jones.
Good morning. I gotta fix this. Good morning. So I want to start by thanking the mayor and the commissioner, because even though I happen to be elected, I'm a victim of gun violence. I've been shot at twice, once in 3rd Ward, once in 5th Ward. I'm thankful that I'm not dead. My dad and 2 of my uncles killed themselves. My father had a gun. My father was depressed. My mother took the gun from my father, said she didn't want it in the apartment, and she gave it to my grandparents. In some kind of way, my dad got the gun back, and he killed himself. My brother was murdered. He got shot 5 times, twice in the head. My aunt, and by the way, my dad died at 2610 Scott Street, which is right up the street. My aunt was murdered on the corner of Palm and Delano. She was shot twice. She was a victim of human trafficking. I say that to say this. This safe gun buyback didn't come soon enough to help save people in my family. But there are people who know people who have issues. And we want to get rid of the guns, and we don't have anywhere to give them. And if you grew up black like me, then you're not always trusting of the police and you don't want to get involved in the system. So the fact that you can give a gun back and nobody asks you any questions about it is super, super, super important. And so I want to just thank anybody who had something to do with this to make people safe. Because I wish I had my dad. I wish I had my uncles. I wish I still had my brother. I just wish I had so many people in my family, and guns were just too easy for them to get. And as I was listening to everybody speak before me, and then I'll ask questions I wonder if my dad would still be here, if my mother could have gotten rid of that gun and my dad didn't have access to it, then maybe I'd have a dad. So this is personal to me. I hope we do it more, because we do need to get the guns off the street. So I'm not just worried about mass shootings. I'm worried about everyday people. Just all you have to do is look at the news. Last week when that lady got mad and started shooting in the streets, and there was a baby in the car, thank God nobody was killed then. Too many people have guns who should not have guns, and we've got to figure out some kind of way in government to handle it. So that's all I have to say.
Commissioner Garcia, I'm going to ask him to commander to translate in Spanish. That will save me.
Yeah.
Muy buenos días. Queremos dar las gracias a nombre del alcalde Sylvester Turner y el jefe de la policía Troy Finner por su presencia a los medios de difusión. Si medimos esto de cualquier manera, el programa es un éxito rotundo. Es un éxito en parte por la cooperación de todos los niveles de gobierno. Por ejemplo, tenemos aquí representantes del Congreso Federal, tenemos al representante Al Green, a la representante Sheila Jackson Lee, tenemos representantes a nivel estatal, tenemos representantes aquí del condado de Harris, Rodney Ellis, que en cooperación con el alcalde se han unido para ir ante el público y pedirles la ayuda de ellos. Este programa es un éxito porque el público ha respondido positivamente. Si ustedes se fijan, hay filas de carros, hay un sinnúmero de personas que están formadas para entregar sus pistolas. Cuando le pedimos a la comunidad que nos ayude a combatir el crimen, han respondido. Están aquí presentes, están entregando pistolas que posiblemente pueden llegar a las manos de criminales, y de esta manera estas pistolas van a ser o regresadas a los dueños o van a ser destruidas. Así que le queremos dar las gracias también a la iglesia que nos dio el permiso y la cooperación para que este evento estuviera aquí en Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, la iglesia bautista de Wheeler. Le queremos dar las gracias a todas las personas que están aquí y a ustedes, los medios de difusión, por su cooperación y por anunciar esto. Como ustedes ven, es un éxito rotundo. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commander. Let me just say, even at this point, we're over 200 guns that have been taken in. There are certain things that we have learned from this particular gun buyback program because we didn't know what to expect. And that is the next time we'll double the resources that we have to speed the process a lot quicker. And that will help because we don't want to lose people who are in line who then turn around because the line is so long and they're having to wait. So that's one of the things, the takeaways from this morning's program. The other thing is that I had some critics say, Mayor, people are not going to turn in their guns for $50, $100, $150, $200 when they may have paid even more for those guns. They're not going to do that for that amount. But as I was talking to some of the people in that line, Brother Muhammad, they turned in some of those guns because they needed the money. They needed the money, and you can't take the gun to the grocery store and get what you need. And so for them, the Visa card was more important than the gun that may have been valued more than what they were getting. We just made it available for them. So that's what we have to do. But let me stop. If you have any questions, this would be a good time. I know you've been waiting a long time. And I do want to thank the media. Let me just do this. Because the success of this program, in large part, was based on your coverage. And the media has been a vital, vital program. So let me personally, on behalf of the city and the county, let me thank the media because your extensive coverage has helped to create the long line and made this program very, very successful. So thank you so very, very much for being a partner to the gun buyback program. Now, I'm sorry.